All right, now we got some breaking news, man. And it's breaking news because it's weird to me. It's weird and it's got me thinking. And that is, according to Adam Schefter, the Detroit Lions have decided to release defensive back Jamal Adams from their practice squad. Now, this is interesting to me because a few weeks ago, well, maybe 6 weeks ago, Jamal Adams, he signed and he was in the same boat as Tim Patrick, where he was going to be elevated. He was signed with the assumption or with the kind of idea that he would be elevated to the practice squad. Didn't happen. Got elevated once. Okay, usually that's what happens. I think it happened with Tim Patrick as well. Got elevated twice. Past 2 games have been inactive. Now, I believe in coincidences, but I don't believe in that they happen often. And I don't think this is a coincidence. Lions, it's 2 things that's brewing here, maybe both. The Lions, one, probably want to bring somebody in, that goes without saying, head into the playoffs. But this guy was supposed to go to the roster. That's what we heard. That was the initial report. The second thing is this. I saw an article a couple of days ago, didn't have time to report on it, that Jamal Adams he regretted asking for a trade from the Jets. And I'm saying to myself, why are you talking about that right now? That's ancient history. You enjoyed your time with the Seahawks, but why are you talking about that? So it got me thinking, is there something that ain't clicking for him in Detroit? Now, granted, you spent the next several years with the Seattle Seahawks, so it could have just been, you know what, at the time, I regret that move. But I don't know. Maybe that's something I don't talk about. If I'm with a new team, I'm like, yo, I'm focusing on the new team now. And it's got me thinking a little deeper, because I believe in that sometimes there are stories behind this, especially if we hear something. Now, we didn't hear anything about Jamal, at least I didn't, about Jamal Adams and nothing working right and things like that. But now I'm starting to think about it. The Detroit Lions have a history of who they bring on their team. We talk about culture. We talk about being a fit for the team. I truly believe this is a case where Jamal Adams wasn't a fit. He wasn't a fit. Now, I thought he was. And I was very surprised when the Detroit Lions signed him, because the Jamal Adams that I remember just a year or 2 ago, he got into it with the neurologist after he was concussed. And he got into it with him, like physically. He didn't put his hands on him, but it was aggressive. And the guy was just trying to do his job. And I'm like, I don't know if the Detroit Lions vibe with that type of stuff. But Aaron Glenn, he got a history with them, and maybe he vouched for him, whatever the situation. And all this is 100% speculation from a basement general manager. I don't know this stuff. It just got me thinking, be outside the box. You sign a guy who has familiarity with the DC. You sign him with the anticipation you'll be on the 53-man roster. You don't get signed to the 53-man roster. Or it could have just been that he didn't pan out, that he didn't work out. He just didn't have it anymore. Maybe the Detroit Lions thought he did, and he didn't. And they released him from the practice squad. But all of this stuff, you inactive 2 games in a row. You're not elevated. You remain on the practice squad. You thought you were going to be on the 53-man roster. He was very selective. He asked to be released from the Titans earlier this year. I don't think this is a coincidence. I don't think any of this stuff is a coincidence. Not trying to put him in the same group with Isaiah Buggs, because that's a whole different thing. But sometimes when it was no coincidence that Isaiah Buggs was not playing. And then we found out later in the year that a lot of that stuff we were hearing is true. Now, I haven't heard anything about Jamal Adams coming from Detroit or anybody. It just is weird to me. It doesn't seem like a coincidence, but we got breaking news. The Detroit Lions released Jamal Adams from their practice squad. He was supposed to be on the 53-man roster. That was the initial report. And not only was he not elevated, he never got a third elevation, and he is not signed to the 53. That is weird to me. Something just doesn't feel right. But I will say this. It's got me thinking now. We talked about, is grit going to be enough? Are the Detroit Lions going to prioritize character over skill, over talent? I'm not saying Jamal Adams had a poor character, but initially he didn't seem like somebody we would have on this team based on what I've seen from him. I was actually shocked, and I started thinking, hey, the Detroit Lions are starting to think outside the box. We're bringing in guys, right? Could this be a situation where, okay, now they realize that they might need some talent? Like you might have to deal with a few things attitude-wise, a few things culture-wise to win. You might have to compromise, make some type of compromise. Or was it something else? So I don't know, but this is weird to me. I don't think it's a coincidence that you bring in a guy who literally was asked to be released from a team to start the year. You don't end up on a team. You wind up picking a team later in the year. You never get elevated to the 53, and now you're gone. And it happened a few days after you talk about, or a report comes out that you regret being traded or asking for a trade from the Jets. It just doesn't sit right, but wishing Jamal Adams the best. He made a couple plays while he was here, but now I'm wondering, what is this practice squad spot for? Is it somebody that we've already seen, or could we be preparing for a new face? Could we be preparing for a new face? It's not Calais Campbell. He's on the team. Could it possibly be Yannick Ngakoue? I don't know. I feel like he's going to get claimed as well. But knowing the Lions, it's somebody we already saw. It's somebody that's been part of this team before that is coming back. So let me know your thoughts. This channel is made possible by viewers, subscribers, and members just like you. You could be anywhere else on YouTube, but you choose to rock with me. We've laid the foundation, and we continue to build, and we don't have any AI channels. I'm not saying anybody does, but, you know, allegedly. They might. They might have some AI channels. You guys are awesome. Take care of yourself and each other. And as always, go Lions.